Hi guys, see you again on your favorite channel, Shania Studio. In 1970, a group of young people celebrated their graduation day with great joy. One of them was Nicholas Garrigan, one of the medical graduates who served at a prestigious university in Scotland. Nicholas himself is the only son of both parents who work as doctors. That's why they are very proud of his achievements, and free to have a career anywhere. He, who really likes adventure at a relatively young age, intends to go abroad to practice knowledge while eliminating boredom. Where the destination he chose at random was Uganda, a country located in the eastern part of Africa. Getting information from a friend who wanted to give him a job, Nicholas ventured to visit a foreign country he had never been to. Where on the way he saw soldiers who had just staged a coup to take the power of the previous president. Even then, the attractiveness of the country was even more attractive in his eyes. Even for the size of a person who had just set foot there, he was quickly able to seduce a Ugandan woman. Arriving at his destination, he met Sarah, who is the wife of his best friend. Sarah is also a doctor who has served in Mogambo's mission for a long time. On the first day, David, Sarah's husband and co-worker, immediately took her to see the poor health condition of the residents. He was also told that the doctors there were the only ones, and had to treat dozens of patients with various ailments. After a few days of staying, Nicholas began to adapt to the new environment and habits he encountered. He also interacts with Sarah more often, because David is mostly on duty outside the city dealing with emergency patients. As a celebration of the ouster of President Obote, General Idi Amin as President of Uganda was warmly welcomed by hundreds of villagers. Amin also gave the impression of being a simple man, promising to change the country while at the same time giving freedom during his tenure.
Until my soldiers have eaten.
That's where Sarah asked him to go because she didn't like the way Idi Amin took power illegally, and made sweet promises that couldn't necessarily be kept. Until in the middle of the way home, an army car intercepted and asked him to help the president who had an accident. Through manual checks, Nicholas learned that Amin had just had a normal sprain. Where his focus was split seeing a cow in pain, and neither of them tried to act. So he immediately fired a gun until the cow was free from suffering. Suddenly Amin was impressed by the relatively quick initiative. Especially after knowing Nicholas was a Scotsman, he greatly admired for their resistance to England. So he swapped his military shirt for a Nicholas shirt with his country's logo on it.
Now I must leave.
When back at the inn, Nicholas admits he is attracted to Sarah by asking for an affair, but sometimes attracted by his attention, Sarah refuses and decides to keep her distance. The next day Nicholas was picked up by Jonah Waswa, Uganda's Minister of Health, and Amin's confidant, who invited him to be a palace guest. He also left after saying goodbye to Sarah, and boarded a special luxury car belonging to President Amin. When he arrived at the palace in the city of Kampala, Amin immediately appointed him as his personal doctor, but Nicholas politely refused, because he had been active in the health mission and did not want to disappoint the people's trust. Therefore Amin did not insist, and only invited him to dinner, even though only as a guest he was given a free dinner suit. It was there that he saw the soldiers accidentally arresting the citizens, and one of the men considered it normal, because the Obat government was still difficult to resist. Nicholas kept his promise to attend a party mostly attended by Ugandan dignitaries. That's when Amin welcomed him as a close friend he hadn't seen in a long time, and introduced him to his 3 wives, namely Milyamu, Nora and lastly Kay, the mother of Campbell, who received his Scottish t-shirt. Not only that, he also met again with a man he met in a clothing boutique. His name was Stone, who served as the representative of the local Foreign and Commonwealth Office. After attending the event, Nicholas was suddenly summoned because the president was experiencing an emergency. He immediately checked Amin, who claimed to have been poisoned by Obat, but as a result, he only made a mistake in mixing the drinks. Feeling that he had shown something shameful, Nicholas promised to keep his patient secret. Where it made Amin also believe in his past story, that once he was a poor man who worked in the British Army, but after going through many obstacles now he became president of Uganda and was elected by the British.
It was British.
The story was also successful in making Nicholas sympathize and consider Amin to be an unpretentious president. In fact, he quickly changed his mind, and informed Sarah that he had accepted a job at the palace. Although David will be disappointed, but he feels that his life will be much fulfilled if he stays where he was before. With his new profession and responsibilities, he was invited to visit the president's elite hospital. He was also introduced to Dr. Junju, a former Dr. Amin who served before him.
Two just very unique personal relationship with.
The short time he was there, Nicholas lived comfortably because he was treated like his own family. He even began to become Amin's confidant, and is not only responsible for medical care, but is also trusted to take care of the country. One day he saw an explosion in a prison supposedly where the Obat prisoners were being held. But before he could ask Junju any further, he was called in to take care of the president's son who had fallen ill.
The president's son is sick.
When he arrived at the residence of Kay, Amin's wife, Nicholas took care of one of their children who suffered from epilepsy, when the child was not allowed to use hospital facilities, so treatment was only through injection medication. Only later did he find out why Kay was exiled from the palace, because Amin was ashamed to have a sick child. After rescuing Mackenzie, the president gave him a car, to make it easier to check on his son. He even immediately asked her to take him to the airport and reminded him not to cross the line, in arranging what is best for his wife and children. Until suddenly their car was blocked by a group of people until the entire army was killed.
Drive!
When the two manage to escape, Amin rages over Obat's attack, which nearly kills him. He also showed another side that was very passionate, and the people who attacked him were immediately arrested and not given any mercy.
Look at me! You are arrested. You want to kill me for that drunk, silly man?
The next night Nicholas found Waiswa, who was meeting a white man, but I don't know what they were talking about. He chose to tell Amin, because he should have told what he thought was suspicious. Following the incident, Stone reported on a newspaper article about the recent disappearance of the High Court judge who was against Amin. But Nicholas thought the accusations against the president were just bullshit. So Stone gave a new fact that Waiswa disappeared after Nicholas reported to Amin.
Fuck your clarification stone fucked them.
He's missing too.
Hearing this, Nicholas visited the ministry building to find evidence of Waiswa's existence, and after receiving reliable information, he met with Stone and the news writer to report Waiswa's whereabouts in Tanzania for embezzlement of funds, thus concluding that everything Stone accused was false. But no matter how hard Nicholas refused to believe the information, he couldn't deny starting to feel signs that something wasn't right. So he also expressed his desire to return to Scotland, but Amin forbade it because he considered his work unfinished. This is where Amin's true nature is very scary. He is a manipulative fact, as if Nicholas owes him a debt. He also can't accept rejection and wants to show no one can go against his will. After that incident, Amin gave him super beautiful women to seduce him. But it was useless because until now he had felt that he had been imprisoned. He also met with Kay until he could no longer hold back his tears, until the two of them went and did something forbidden. This is where Amin's true nature is very scary. He is a manipulative fact, as if Nicholas owes him a debt. He also can't accept rejection and wants to show no one can go against his will. After that incident, Amin gave him super beautiful women to seduce him. But it was useless because until now he had felt that he had been imprisoned. He also met with Kay until he could no longer hold back his tears, until the two of them went and did something forbidden.
And then just hand out passports to him.
You want me to kill them?
Along with the increasing news of fear, paranoia and deteriorating relations, Amin accused the British government of killing him, so he made a new decision by expelling all Asians who were British citizens, even those who were sickly. This situation made presidential aides resort to violence so that even Nicholas dared to oppose him. He also used his power to advise Amin to cancel expelling the Asians and not be listened to. But even though his pride was being trampled on, he couldn't do much because not only Amin didn't believe it but also Sarah, who ignored him when he was about to be evacuated away. Not only that, it seemed as if the trials were coming endlessly. When Kay told her that she was pregnant because of their relationship, but because she was afraid that Amin would kill her, Kay asked her to have an abortion before the news was known to the public. In the end, he asked Junju for help so that he would help in the abortion process, where instead he was rejected, so he decided to do it himself even though he was scared to death. When he packed up to take Kay to a village, the aides forced him to meet Amin. Again he had to deal with Amin's outburst of emotions. Due to the expulsion of Asians that resulted in the destruction of Uganda's economy, the British considered him crazy, so the media lost faith in him. Therefore Amin sought advice from him to find a solution, and asked him to inject a vitamin. But when he thought he could get out of there, the president stopped him because he had to accompany him at a press conference with the media.
I need you for the press conference.
While Amin was bragging to the media, Nicholas drove his car to Kay's house to pick him up, where on information from one of the officers, he headed to the hospital feeling anxious, and to his surprise he saw Kay lying on the operating table with her body cut horribly. Knowing that Amin's regime was truly a psychopathic dictator with no conscience, he plotted the assassination of Amin, just as Stone had assigned him. He gave her a headache pill and poison and rushed off to run away. Unfortunately, the escape plan was not easy, because Amin reassigned him to the airport to help pro-Palestinian hostages. It was discovered that a plane had been hijacked, And now is the time for Amin to look for a face so that his name shines in the eyes of the world. Upon arrival at the airport, Amin immediately made a promise to provide the best medical care, as well as Nicholas, who was treating the injured hostages. Suddenly his attention was distracted after realizing that he intended to poison Amin, so after the drug was swallowed by one of the youths, he quickly stopped it. He was beaten and then dragged before Amin, because his affair with Kay was known to him. But even though his life was in serious danger, he still said that Amin was the naive and childish person he had ever met. So because his actions were considered insults, Nicholas was punished with a meat hook, and was hanged with his own skin.
And they hang you now.
Then when Amin arranged for the plane to free the passengers, all the eight also left Nicholas, who was unconscious, so Junju used the opportunity to help him, and forced him to flee with the hostages, to tell them to tell about the cruel regime of Amin's dictator, because the whole world would believe because Nicholas was a white man.
Go home. Tell the world the truth about her. What about you? My fate.
When he left the place, the guards went berserk because they couldn't find him in the room, so he mingled among the hostages and managed to get on a flight to France. For the many crimes of brutality, and the atrocities committed by Amin, he was nicknamed the Butcher of Uganda, because of more than 300,000 lives during his reign. After 8 years of leading Uganda, without freedom of expression and a very chaotic economy, many people took to the streets to celebrate his ouster from leadership chair. And did Amin get the punishment he deserved? Unfortunately no, he was never tried, despite his dictatorship being arguably the most violent in African history. I end this discussion and see you again.